In this part 2, the final part, we're gonna take a look at the user form and code it so it becomes functional. Also generate the new invoice ID and fill in the template. Make sure to watch until the end and follow along.
Alright, then we continue coding the form. Now we're gonna code the user form initialize. So we double click here and we already have the call apply style pop form that sets the colors. So now we're gonna put it with some more settings. And we're gonna start by writing the width and the height. ME width equal 530. ME height equal 420. Then we're gonna set ME dot startup position and set that it equals 0. And write ME dot left equal application dot left plus application dot width minus ME dot width divided by 2. Like so. Copy paste this, and then we're gonna take the top dot ME dot top application dot top, and this is the height. Like so. And then we're gonna load 10 sample customers with customer name. This is here, you can adjust it to fit whatever you need it for. With CMB customer name, we're gonna do a dot clear dot add item Anderson Enterprises dot add item Bright Solutions. Let's speed this up because the process is the same. Alright, like so. And then we're gonna do an end with customer name. Then we're gonna load items from the item database. We're gonna do a dim ws as worksheet, set ws equal this workbook.sheets, and write items database. That's our sheet name in the database for the items. Then we're gonna dim I as long, last row as long, and we're gonna clear the item name, and we're gonna set the last row equal ws.cells, ws.rows.count, comma a dot end Excel dot row, and then we're gonna set CMB item name. Then we're gonna set CMB item name to clear and do a for loop here for I to last row. CMB item name dot add item ws dot cells I comma 1, the first column dot value. Next I txt invoice ID dot value, set that equal generate next invoice ID. A code we haven't set yet, so we're gonna take a look at that after. So we're gonna set txt invoice date dot value equal format date dd YYY, date, month, year, and set it similar with the txt due date. The only difference is it should be the date plus 14 days. You can customize this as you like. Then let's make some space here. And then we're gonna set the list box setup with lst items dot column count. Set that equal to 5 because we have 5 columns. Dot column width. Set that equal to 120 pt semicolon 190 pt semicolon 60 pt semicolon 50 pt and semicolon 70 pt. And we will end it like this. And then dot clear. End with. And then we're gonna reset current item. So we're gonna do it with current DSC equal blank and current price equals 0. Now we're gonna write a private function that generates next invoice ID. We're gonna do that inside the form here. And we can just write it here. Private function generate next invoice ID. Then we're gonna dim WS as worksheet. We're gonna do an error handling on error. Resume next. And we're gonna set WS equal this workbook dot sheets and use our invoice template. That's the name of the sheet where we have the invoice. On error, go to 0. If WS is nothing, then generate next invoice ID equal YNV001 exit function and if dim last ID as string, last ID equal ws.range b3 dot value. If left, last ID comma 3 equal INV, then generate next invoice ID equal INV and format val mid last ID 4 plus 1 comma 000. We're missing a parenthesis here. Else generate next invoice ID equal INV 001 and if. So basically this would be the first invoice we generate. And now when we open this up, we can see that it recognizes this. We can see this by changing it and it autocorrects. That's how you can test it. Alright, moving on. Alright, let's run it here to test what we did so far. So you can see it has the first invoice because it has a sheet that is blank. And we have our 10 customers that we filled in the combo box using the add item. And then we have today's date and due date 14 days ahead. And then you have all the items here. We should expand the combo box here so you can see all the data. When you select an item name here, it will auto-populate this line, description, unit price, and then finally when we type in, it will auto-calculate the totals. But one thing at a time, we're going to start with when you select an item here, these two will be selected. Now you can see we have picked backup battery package. So the logic should be when you pick backup battery package, this description will be filled in with this unit price and so on. First, we can just expand this a little bit more. Maybe move it over here for now. And then double click on it because we want the change event to happen when you fill this in. And the way we're gonna do that is dim WS as worksheet. Then we're gonna dim IS long. Then we're gonna do if CMB item name dot value equal blank, then LBL description dot caption equal this line that's indicating that there's no description, and the same, let's copy paste this, same with the label for unit price and the label for the totals. Then we're gonna write current DSCS equal blank and current price equal 0. Exit sub and end if. Then we're gonna set WS equal this workbook sheets and use item database DB, the sheet I just showed you. Then we're gonna do a for I equal to WS cells WS rows count. Use the first column dot end Excel up row, basically the lateral. And then we're gonna do a LBL description the caption equal WS cells I, 2 dot value. That's where we have the description. And we're gonna do the same for the unit price. Copy paste this. Write unit price, but this is from the column number 3. And then there are two critical things we need to write here. Current DSC, we need to correct it up here, equal WS dot cells I, 2 dot value, and current price equal the third column up here. Exit for and if next I, if is numeric txt quantity dot value, then LBL total dot caption equal format CDBL unit price dot caption multiplied CDBL txt quantity dot value comma 0 comma 0, 0. And we need for instance here, and now it's correct. And then else, then we need the LBL total dot caption equal this line indicating there's no calculations, and if. And then we'll also need to correct the sheet name reference. As I can see, in my template, I have written items database. So now it should be working. It was missing an S here. So let's run it and check it out. And now you can see it auto-populates full HD EPS display to 250. And you can see this in the backend sheet here. And it automatically updates here. So it seems to be working, but we need to also move things around so it looks better. But we're going to do the coding first and then set the design at the very end. And the idea now is when you enter a number here, it auto calculates and writes 70 here, because 35 multiplied by 2 equals 70. So it should automatically do the calculations, and then you can add it here. All right, now we're going to code when you put a number in here, it automatically do the calculation for us. So let's double click here on a text box. We can just get rid of this and then write the following. Now it needs to check both fields are numeric before calculations. So we're going to do a if is numeric txt quantity dot value and is numeric LBL unit price dot caption, then LBL total dot caption equal format cdbl txt quantity dot value multiplied cdbl LBL unit price dot caption comma 0 comma 0 0. Else LBL total dot caption equal the line indicating there's nothing to be calculated. And if. Let's do a quick test. And then we put 2 here, and you can see it's working. Moving on, writing the add code and the remove code. All right, double click on add button, and now we need to code the add button and add it to the invoice template and the list box. If CMB item name, the value equal blank, then equal blank, or parent DSC equal blank, or parent price equal 0 underscore, or not is numeric txt quantity the value underscore, or val txt quantity dot value smaller or equal to 0. Then we needed to display a message box. Select an item and enter a valid quantity, comma VB exclamation, exit sub, and if dmq2y as long q2y equal CLNG txt quantity dot value dim total as double total equal QTY multiplied current price with LST items dot add item CMB item name dot value dot list count -1, comma 1 equal current DSC DESC, and let's copy paste this and change this to 2, and this is current price. And this is quantity. And total. End with. And then we're gonna clear the form. CMB item name, the value equal blank, txt quantity dot value equal blank, current DSCs equal blank, current price equal 0, and reset back all the labels. NBL description dot caption equal this line, copy paste, unit price and total. That's it. All right, we need to write 2 lines on top in order to make the code work, to make the add button work. And we're gonna dim current DSC as string and dim current price as double. And now it's working. And the idea is now that we can remove it in case we added something wrong. It's not going to be printed into the template yet. We're only going to do that when we have a quick overview and know, this is how it should be. And then we click generate. We can add a new one here for testing. Let's say we take 2 of these, add, and now you can see it added it below each other, and it clear the settings. So let's say take this one, take 2 of those. So that's the idea. Let's code the remove button now. All right, the remove button is quite simple. Let's double tap on it and code it. We need 2 lines of code, so that's very straightforward. If LST items dot list index equal -1, then exit sub LST items dot remove items LST items dot list index. So let's take 2 docking stations and then click on it and remove it. All right, then we're gonna code the generate invoice. So this is here where when we click on this bottom here and we want to generate, then it should fill in this template. And then after we can code this so it converts this to a PDF. So click on generate invoice, and then let's make some space here. And then we're gonna do dim ws as worksheet. We're gonna do an error handling on error, resume next, set ws equal this workbook the sheets invoice template. That's the sheet name. On error, go to 0. And then we're going to do an if statement. If ws is nothing, then message box sheet invoice template not found. VB critical. And then exit sub and end if. But in case we can find the sheet, we can proceed and populate the invoice. So ws.range b3.value equal txt invoice id.value ws range b4.value equal cmb customer name value ws range b5 value equal txt invoice date value and ws range b6 value equal txt due date value ws range a9 to e30 clear content. So basically clearing the invoice range where all the listing is. Then we are gonna add the items from new. Dim I as long for I equal 0 to lst items dot list count -1 ws cells 9 plus I comma 1 dot value equal lst items dot list I comma 0 and copy paste this and insert all the columns. Two, 3, 4, 5 index I0 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's because list box always start the first column with index 0. That's why. And then next I, and then message box invoice written to invoice template comma VB information. All right, and then we need to correct this because this is wrong. So now it's spelled correct. So let's run the form, and you can see we have our invoice number here. Let's take Anderson Enterprise and add a docking station. Let's just have 2 of these and have a graphic table. Yeah, that's it. Just for testing. Invoice written to invoice template. And you can see now we have an invoice generated. And then we can code the export so we generate a PDF. We're almost done. We need to code the export PDF and do a little bit of styling of the form. All right, let's code the export to PDF button. double click here, and let's make some space. We're going to start dim WS as worksheet. I'm going to set WS equal this workbook, the sheets, invoice template. Then we're going to dim invoice ID as string and dim customer name as string. And we're going to write invoice ID equal trim ws dot range b3 dot value. That's where we're going to have our invoice ID. Then we're going to write customer name, and I write this with small letters on purpose so you can see the computer corrects it and it knows we have defined the variables up here with capital letters. So customer name equal trim ws dot range b4 dot value. Then we're going to write the if statement. If invoice ID equal blank or customer name equal blank, then message box invoice ID or customer name is missing. Comma VB exclamation exit sub and end if. We could also have a message box popping up to each individual. If it's the invoice ID that's missing, then it writes invoice ID missing, and then also checks if the customer name is missing. Then it gets a direct message saying that the customer name is missing. But to keep this simple, it's going to give a general message box invoice ID or customer name is missing. We're going to continue here. So if it gets to this point, it means that this if statement is not true. So we can write a code that clean file name of illegal characters. We need to make sure that when you convert to a PDF that there's not included question marks and symbols that it cannot save the PDF as. So we're gonna dim save name as string, save name equal replace invoice ID, and then we're gonna do this line and custom name, comma, and then slash, comma, this line. And then we're gonna write save name equal replace save name, comma, backslash. We can't have that, so we have to replace it with a line. And I'm going to speed this process up because it's similar. The formula is always the same. Save name equal replace a symbol that we cannot accept and replace it with a line or something else. All right, that's all the symbols. We will replace those on the left. We can't accept those, and we're going to replace them with a line and this instead of these symbols, so it's secure to save and we don't get an error. Then we're going to write dim save path as string, save path equal this workbook dot path and backslash and save name and .pdf. And then we export the range as a PDF. Then we're gonna export the range as a PDF. We can write a note here, export as PDF. That's just a note for ourselves. And then we can do an error handling on error. Go to error handling. ws.range A1 to E44. That's the range we want to convert to a PDF, the full invoice. And we're going to do a export as fixed format, type, colon equal, Excel type PDF, comma, file name, colon equal, save path, comma, quality, colon equal, Excel, quality, standard. You can see all these letters changed from small letter to big beginning letter, except this one. Then we're gonna write a message box here, message box, invoice, saved as PDF, colon, and VB CRLF and save path, comma, VB information, access sub. And then we're gonna do the error handler here. In case of an error, message box, error, saving PDF, ensure the file isn't open or write protected, comma VB critical. And now we should be good to go and we can save it. Before we test it, let's make a module here. Call it sub open form. And then we're going to write frm simple invoice dot show. And this way we're going to have a bottom here that opens the form up. Select this one and we call it open form. And we have the form open already. And before testing it, let's actually move some things around and make it more beautiful. Let's have a look how this looks. Yeah, maybe that looks better. Yeah, that looks better. So let's start over here. Let's just take the evergreen suppliers again. Now it looks better. And then we're going to have 3 docking stations. That's what we want in our invoice. And maybe we can have some laptop also. Let's say 5 laptops. And then let's add something by mistake so we can test the remove bottom. An external hard drive. Let's say we added that, but then we're like, nah, we don't need it. Remove it. Generate invoice, so it fills in the template. Invoice written to the invoice template. And then export to PDF. Invoice saved as PDF, and this is the path this workbook is in. And then we close it, and save it, and open up and check that they have saved it successfully. If you found this helpful and want the full version with all the features, save, search, PDF export, and more, you can get the complete invoice system from my Etsy store. The link's in my bio or in the description below. So, thank you for following along. this is how you make a user form that can create invoices dynamically that will reduce error. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe. I really appreciate it. I try to create more tutorials around topics that people like, so feel free to share your ideas in the comment section. I'll read all of them and reply to all of them. What tutorials do you want to see next, and how can I help you automate your task in your job? And then I will see you in the next video.